Bitch don't know how to say silhouette. There's no way, right?
Her, she wore a suit, clothes that were. Who's this for?
She wore
Extraordinary.
a sahalat of clothes that were
Silhouette, bro?
extraordinary, whatever, bro.
What the fuck does that say? Why am I reading this? No, I'm not reading
The
this.
colonel. You can't say the colonel. Asked the choir to accommodate the governor's schedule.
Oh, bunch of.
The colonel asked the choir to accommodate the governor's schedule.
What does that mean?
He asked the choir to accommodate. I don't know, bro.
Accommodate. He asked the choir to think about the schedule to be aware. What the fuck?
Bro.
You know, when I was growing
I
up,
didn't even care for school. Y'all don't know this?
we had things like Reading Rainbow, Hooked on Phonics, In Between the Library. Every Easter, we gave a speech at church that made us talk out loud and practice our public speaking skills. And if you read 25 books in a quarter, then you got to get invited to a Pizza Hut pizza party. Trust me, the pizza was always nasty. It wasn't about that. It was the fact that you read the books and you won a prize, and the classmates who couldn't read couldn't get to the pizza. Duh. Now things have taken a turn for the worse. And not necessarily just because kids can't read sentences that are displayed on a note card. For what it's worth, those sentences were a little bit tricky. There were some words that might not be common on the paper. But it's also the fact that the words that were used on the note card were also used incorrectly. All of the kids are illiterate. All of the kids can't read. AI and ChatGPT are taking over, and we're gonna have a problem in the near future if we don't figure out how we got to this place quick, fast, in a hurry. If you're new to this, please hit that subscribe button. It goes a long, long way for the channel. Can you as a community put a silhouette of a subscription on this extraordinarily gauche subscribe button? If you can comprehend that, you can comprehend becoming a part of this community. Now, back into the video.
I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level.
7th grade English teacher here. When I tell you that these babies cannot read, they cannot write, and they cannot comprehend, I'm not being funny. I'm being dead serious.
The class divide of the future is going to be who can read and critically think and who cannot. What every educator on this app is talking about, and what every educator in the field is noticing, is a dramatic decline in basic critical reasoning skills and basic literacy skills among students. This is particularly pronounced among high school age students. And what this is creating is a generation entering the workforce without basic comprehension skills that is going to make it very hard for them to keep and maintain any form of employment.
Since the rise of TikTok, we have been seeing more firsthand accounts of people telling their real life stories about what's actually going on in their day-to-day lives. You can see how plumbers plumb, you can see how bakers bake, and you can see the plight of teachers in today's modern day education system. I feel like it started post-pandemic when kids started to migrate back to the in-class environment, when a slew, and I do mean a slew of teachers, came to the internet claiming that kids couldn't read, they couldn't write, there was a huge literacy crisis, and something needed to be done. And I'm old enough to remember the backlash that all of these teachers got when they were calling out these parents, when they were calling out the education system for highlighting the fact that these kids couldn't read. People were saying that they were embarrassing these kids. People were saying that you shouldn't be leaking this information out about these kids. And they even started to get some of these teachers fired. But lo and behold, in the big 2026, because of one young man who was doing some sort of viral trend where he highlighted the fact that his classmates could not read, and hell, himself to a certain extent, people are now having to be faced with the realities of the extreme, and I do mean extreme literacy crisis that this nation has.
She wore a sahalat of clothes that were extraordinary, whatever, bro, but somewhat hooch.
What does that mean?
She wore a lot. Wait, she wore. Bro, I don't know, bro.
She wore a silhouette of clothes that were extraordinary, but somewhat gauche.
All right, now what does that mean?
I have no idea. She wore a. I don't know what this should say. I don't know what this should say. I don't know what this should say. Can't read it. Can't read it. Can't read it.
Oh my god.
Now I can get the word ghost because that's something that's very uncommon and most people don't understand the word. Hell, the user didn't seem to understand the word when he put it into a sentence for his classmates to read. But words like kernel, extraordinary, and silhouette are actually disappointing to see that what seems to be high school age kids don't understand. And I don't even think that I'm truly upset that they didn't know words. There's words that I don't know. And hell, there's words that I didn't know when I was somebody their age. But what also was very disturbing and also shocking to me is the fact that they didn't even attempt to sound it out. They quit on the word, acting as if they couldn't even fake the funk. And that's just a real telltale sign that in between the lions need to make a comeback because there's something going on with these kids and we need to get in front of it ASAP.
Math and reading scores have dropped to their lowest levels in more than 2 decades among high school seniors.
These scores come from the latest so-called Nations Report Card, and it shows that student achievement has continued to decline significantly among high school seniors. The average reading score last year was the lowest since the assessment began in 1992.
There are 3 hypotheses to explain what's been happening. Number 1 is there's been a decline in focus on test-based accountability since the No Child Left Behind Act expired in 2015, the rise in social media use, and a third, the rise in student absenteeism, which spiked during the pandemic but remains high.
And there's no one reason as to how we got here.
So all you niggas not going to school and y'all still can't even, you think you better than school, so you ain't going to, you ain't even smart enough. I get for the people who was smart enough. You ain't even smart enough. Get your ass in school, nigga.
In 2026, where kids aren't able to read, write, spell, critically think, etc., etc. There's been a decline in test-based accountability when the No Child Left Behind Act, which for a long time I did think was something that they only talked about on like SNL and Family Guy skits. But coming to realize when I got into college that it was a real thing, I got really scared. Came into play, it made so that accountability was kind of wiped out across the board. If they can't read today, maybe they'll get it tomorrow. And even if they don't get it tomorrow, they'll be in the next grade anyway, so it'll no longer be my problem. There's also been a rise in social media and phone usage, which I'll get to in 2 seconds. And then, especially with the pandemic, there's been a rise in absenteeism.
And I'm in an urban district, and we've seen ever since COVID, obviously, attendance going down. But my last class was 27 kids, and 8 of them were not here. So, I mean, this has been going on for a long time, but I'm more interested in the why rather than the what.
If a student misses 21 days of school and racks up 32 tardies, it's not the teacher's problem to fix. Teachers can't be on the hook for everything. Johnny's 24 absences aren't because Miss Jackson's lesson wasn't engaging enough. Absenteeism, it's not a classroom engagement issue. Teachers are responsible for the students who show up. Student attendance, that's the parent's responsibility.
You know, the reason why I know the word colonel is because when I was growing up, we used to eat KFC. I know. Go flood my mother's inbox. It wasn't a choice that I made, but she made sure that I knew the difference between the original recipe and the crispy one. I thought it was disgusting too. But I say all that to say, I think that a lot of this education mishap and question mark does start at home. And I know that there's a bunch of different factors like economic situation, careers these parents have. All these things do play into factor. But I do know one thing for certain. If you do take care of these things at home, reading practice, writing practice, mathematics.
Because I definitely had to read, which I guess I didn't think was good at the time. Now I see y'all not reading, and I'm like, I guess that was a good thing to be doing at the time, reading at home.
Practice, all these things will then spill over into their daily lives. Who would have known that if your parents go through flashcards with you, you may know how to spell or sound out or read silhouette and gauche in class.
Literacy rates are down because people who've never read a book are having kids. Reading starts at home. I was teaching 6th graders, and they had the reading level and vocabulary of like some of the 3rd graders that I was working with.
We gotta remember that one day these kids who can't read will grow up to be
having kids.
Adults who can't read, and what do adults who can't read do? They make babies. Adults who can read also make babies, but people generally make babies, and if you can't read and you having a baby, that probably means you can't teach that baby how to read. It's pretty crazy to think that 54% of US adults have low literacy skills. I think that number in and of itself should be more concerning than even like the gas pump prices when I go to my local BP or shop. I would put them on the equivalency of a 6th grade level. So now you created this situation where the Spider-Man meme comes to real life, where they're pointing at each other and the blind is leading the blind, and you have grown adults who can't read teaching kids who can't read how to read. It's too much. It's too much.
So Koi got home today, and her report card, her handwriting score, all of them were 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So on this list, it says here, 1, not meeting standards. Not meeting standards at this time. 2, standards partially met, needs more time. So handwriting skills, print legibly using proper pencil grip. A 1. I mean, you holding it how you supposed to hold it. I don't understand how's that 1. So I'm trying to figure out like what's really going on in the school. Like I'm really about to change schools again.
I don't think people understand how big of a deal this truly is. Since the pandemic, people have been turning to homeschooling their kids because of unsatisfactory planning from schools around the nation when it came to, the way that they handled 6 feet apart and all these other things, social distancing. Maybe they didn't like the fact that there were any social distancing rules in place. People are afraid of school pew-pewings happening more and more and more. But ultimately, at the end of the day, there's been a rise in people homeschooling their kids. That doesn't even factor into all the political reasons as to why people do that. But that's not why you're here on this channel. But we're not asking ourselves, if half of the US has a literacy crisis in the adult age range, and those people are also participating in homeschooling, then who the hell is teaching these kids how to actually do some reading, writing, and arithmetic? Truly, who is doing it?
Come to Best Buy with me and my baby girls. I am gonna buy them some iPads. I have been debating this for a very long time. I mostly need them for whenever we travel. As you guys know, traveling with toddlers is a lot of freaking work.
That's right. Those same kids who got frustrated about reading, writing, and arithmetic while they were in school, so they put it down and picked up, I don't know, some sort of device or a ball or played some music, are the same parents now who, when trying to teach their kids reading, writing, and arithmetic, are more than likely to go and, I don't know, buy their kids an iPad. Buy your 1-year-old toddler an iPad. It's actually the most insane thing in the world. There's a study out there that says by the age of 4, 58% of children already have their own tablet or smartphone. Now, before those people get in my comments saying, well, Omar, tablets and smartphones can provide other things. They're stimulants in other ways.
That's not what they use it for, though. They're just attention, get out my face.
Means and a method to teach their kids, full stop. I have many friends who have many babies, cousins, all these other things like that, and they're letting Blippi and the little Spider-Man kid thing and whatever is on YouTube Kids be the means that teach their kids how to read, write, spell, learn colors, etc., etc. And there's way too many studies that show about how much over screen time usage can be detrimental to a young child, let alone the fact that they think it's some sort of substitution for teaching. And so now when they send their children to school, they think that it's a problem that the teachers aren't teaching the kids anything, as opposed to back in our our day when they thought that something was supposed to be done first at home. No. They think the responsibility lies 100% solely on the teachers.
And the first thing that we need to do is address this common misconception that learning starts in kindergarten. Your child is not even allowed to attend school until they turn 5 years old. That means that the learning should have started at home. You have 5 years to teach your child how to write their name, to teach their child their basic letter sounds, to teach your child how to count to 10, so that they have some kind of foundation to continue learning when they enter kindergarten.
It's sad because you're letting Professor AT&T and Dr. Xfinity be the ones that instruct your children for their entire lives.
This is making me mad.
Media,
I can't believe y'all out in this world. That's pissing me off.